Hey, welcome back to my channel, Brianna's Bachelor Breakdown. Today I have my very first guest. I'm so excited. My friend Julia, we went to college together, so I will pass it to her and she can introduce herself.
Hey, I'm Julia Rolova. As Brianna said, we met at Davidson and super excited to be here today as a very, very excited fan for this season with Katie. Yeah, this is my second Bachelorette season. So I'm pretty new to the franchise, but I'm excited to be here as your typical hopeless romantic and reality TV watcher.
Well, welcome. Let's go ahead and get started. So today we're gonna go over the men tell all. So before I start with any questions, I jotted down. Did you have anything that stuck out to you that you wanted to touch on?
I mean, I definitely have notes, but I'm gonna let you lead because I have 3 pages of notes.
Okay, let me pull up. Where are my notes? So first things first, we got to touch on Michael A.
Yes.
What did we think of that? Did you see it coming? Like what was your thoughts and reactions?
I think one of the previews they put out like 2 weeks ago with Michael A with that line that really hit deep for me. The his little boy James saying maybe daddy left because he doesn't want to see me. That is the line. I saw that in a preview. I was like, oh, there's no way he stays after that. So I can't say it was a complete surprise, but they had dropped that preview like pretty earlier on. So I'm surprised it came this far. Like I really thought he was going to push through because he's already been gone for so many weeks.
Right. Yeah.
You know, what's 2 or 3 more? But at the same time, like seeing his reaction to it live, I was like, oh, there's no way. Like 1 more day isn't gonna cut it.
Yeah, that was my exact thought process. I was kind of like, like you are in the final four. Like at this point, there's only like 2 weeks left. You know what I mean? So I was kind of like, it wouldn't in the long run, it's not gonna make that much of a difference. But I could tell when his son said that, like his voice cracked, like you could see his heart like drop out of his chest. And I was like, it's a wrap. We're back.
It's a wrap on Michael A. It's a wrap.
Yeah. When he got up and like hugged the producer, I was like, you could just tell that his emotions, like he didn't know what to do, like where to put his emotions. Yeah.
Which is why I was also so surprised he was so put together talking to Katie. I was like, okay, like how much after was this? How long did he actually take to like make this final decision? Because it happened so quickly, but he was so composed, like 2 tears, like literally 2 tears were seen. But man, I mean, I was just like, how did the producers get that child to say that to this man? To mess him up like that. Like, wow. But Michael A is a saint. He deserves the world.
Yeah, I had actually the same thought about him seeming so composed because once he left the phone call, I was like, maybe he's gonna go talk and try to figure out a solution, right? Like maybe because I know he said he didn't want his kid like on the show, which like I get, but maybe the kid could like come and like not be on camera, like maybe there was a way to figure it out. So I thought he was going to like troubleshoot, but then he came and he was like, mind made up, like I'm going, no, there was no room for negotiation, and he was very calm about it. So I agree, he was very like he had already like worked through all the steps in his mind.
And
like, okay,
the thing on top of it is like with hometowns, we're all expecting James is going to be in the next episode. True. So it makes it that much more like, was he really not going to introduce his son to Katie before proposing? Because
which is another question mark, because like that's a massive risk to take. Like if you get all the way, like your kid will be involved at the end of the day.
Yes. And like Katie seemed so excited to meet him. Like she was like, I'm excited to meet your parents. I'm excited to meet James. And so just again, like makes you wonder like what the timeline really is, because like maybe it was really only 1 week until they were gonna like see each other again. So it's like, yeah, I'm wondering if there's anything else to it, like anything else that was said by his parents or in-laws that made him really want to just go back.
Yeah,
It's
true.
so many weeks already.
Right. Like you've already done the hard, you're past the halfway point. Like you've done the hard part.
Yeah, and you're literally like one person away from her. You like
Yeah.
literally want, like he was clearly a top runner.
Oh
Clearly,
yeah.
like in my head with Andrew Escon, it was going to be Michael A or Greg. So I'm like,
Really? Not
in my
Blake?
head, I mean, I love Blake, but like the way she looks at those two is like completely different. I feel like, you know?
Oh wow. I mean, I see what you're saying. I thought it would be Greg and Blake.
Oh, so you didn't think Michael A would make it towards the end?
No, because my only thing was, do you remember in the season premiere when Michael A rolled up and he was like, yeah, I have a kid, da 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 da. And Katie was like, oh, you know, like I'm 50-50 on being a mom. And throughout this season, she's kind of grown into it. Like you could tell that she's accepting it and is like being very intentional about it. But I still feel like that was like in the back of her head. I feel like it would have come up later, you know?
Definitely. See, my thing was, is like to have him be final four and like not even like the last one chosen for the final four. I was like, she has to know how big of a deal it is for her son, for his son. So if she wasn't 100% on being a mom yet, like that's not a cute look. I don't think, you know, like which I think, you know, she touched on with her talk with Tasha, I think, before this whole thing went down, where she's like, yeah, like I'm excited for that life. And I
Yeah.
feel like they've really honed into that all season. Like I totally forgot that she had said she was 50-50. I thought like by like episode 3 she was like, yeah, I want to be a mom. Like
Yeah. I think she grew into it.
yeah.
But also, like, I don't trust. Speaking of what you're saying about like her being like, if she wouldn't have let him into her final four if she didn't want him to be there. I don't really trust her final four because she has Justin. Like, I'm not sure I trust her decision making skills. Like, why are you meeting this man's family? You don't know him. Like,
Yeah.
you know about him.
Know him.
I don't know anything about him. So
no, I know zero about him. But also, really quickly about that, the previews with the fact that like Justin doesn't bring his family, he brings friends.
Oh wait, I haven't seen. No, I thought the only clip I've seen is the dude being like, Justin's like, we still have more time, and the guy was like, more time? What do you mean? But I thought that was his brother.
Oh, maybe it's his brother, but like, there's also like one other guy there that I was like, I don't think that's his family. And there's only 2 guys who come, and I was like,
oh. Probably because he's like, sis, you don't know me. I'm not bringing my family.
Like, I'm not sure why I'm here.
Yeah, like you were not meeting my mom.
Yeah, I'm again really excited to see how the whole Justin thing plays out. Yeah. Will we learn anything about him before he gets eliminated?
You know, I would question the need answers.
For real. But yeah, that's me on Michael A though. That like yeah, he really had it to put together. Yeah, his speech, I don't know if he like practices these things before, but dang.
It was so poetic.
Poetic. That's the word. Romantic, poetic, just like so well put together every time he's on camera. I'm just like,
for real. Yeah. Do you think, this is giving ahead a little bit, but do you think they're giving him the Bachelor edit, or do you feel like they're giving Andrew more the Bachelor edit, and / which one would you want more if it were between the two of them?
I feel like I think they're both getting a bit of a Bachelor edit, and I've seen some posts be like double season with these two, like they're doing with Michelle and Katie. But I think it's so hard because I'm on the like boat where I'm like, I just want them to be so in love with Katie that they can't even imagine doing the next season. Like, you know, that's like kind of my headspace, but I also want them to find love and move on. So I think that's partly because I'm still not convinced Katie's going to be 100% like totally actually into who she ends up with.
Really? Okay.
I don't know. There's something like I've talked to a few friends who think Katie's gonna end up alone. And with that like theory floating around, I'm like, I would like Andrew S. and Michael A. to be completely single and open and ready to
available.
Yes. But then putting Katie aside though, I think I would love Michael A. to be a bachelor, but I feel like he would need a spinoff, like a single parent spinoff. Because I feel like it's a totally different dating show, and I don't think he could do it without James around. And I think it would be so much more fun if James was around, if we could see him. That's my take on Michael A. And of course, I want another POC bachelor that isn't Matt James. So I would do anything for Andrew S. and to be a bachelor, on top of the fact that he's actually from my hometown.
Oh, really?
He is, yeah, from Waukegan. So
here you have it.
So I would love to see a filming of The Bachelor at Waukegan. That's really why I want Andrew S.
Yes. If he had made it to hometowns, well, I guess they're still not traveling.
Yeah,
that's going there.
Yeah, I kept thinking about that, but I was like, I'm glad it didn't happen because I would have been really sad that COVID was still a thing and they would have been able to be there. But if he's Bachelor and he like brings someone home,
to
meet grandma, the cute little grandma.
I think a little extra. Like if they have a scene around town, you could just like be in the cafe available.
Slide into The Bachelor.
Yes, you can write him a note, be like, I know you're in a hometown, but my heart is still open for you. It doesn't work out. Truly,
yes, please. But yeah, I think Andrew definitely had the bigger edit for it though, because he gave Katie a date card. So yeah, I'd be happy to see either of them though. I'd watch.
Mm-hmm. Also, speaking of like the Andrew or Michael with his kid, so there actually was a season, I don't remember how old I was, probably in high school. There was a season with the Bachelorette who was a mom. So she also didn't want to leave her kid, and she was from Charlotte, and they did the season in Charlotte. Like they didn't do it in Malibu or wherever, so she could like still see her kid. I don't think we saw the kid on the show that much, but like it was understood that she was going to see her like on a daily basis.
Wait, that's cute.
Yeah, so it's been done.
Michael A live?
What'd you say?
Where does he live, Michael A?
I think he's in Ohio.
But those poor bachelorettes. I know. Ohio. They'd hate it. Yeah. But also, I've been seeing on social media that Michael A is hanging with the boys. So I'm like, sir,
you got time.
Vacation, you
are available.
Anyway. Yes, I'm like, interesting, suspicious.
Yeah. / how old is the kid? Is he school age yet?
Oh, he might be school age.
Because that could make a difference.
Like 3 or 4.
Okay. Yeah. That's like right at that line.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, single parents should have their times off anyway. Yeah. Michael A deserves it, but I'm just like, okay, we're going skydiving right now. Like, where's James? Is it home? Like,
you supposed to be in Disney World.
You just got eliminated, Michael. Come on.
Yes. Okay. So, did any of the guys, did their new or updated looks at the Men Tell All stand out to you? There were a few notes that I had, but I'll see if you had anything.
Really? Well, there was that, it's not even their outfits, but that one random guy that was introduced.
Kyle?
Yes. Who are you?
He's over there waving like we know who we are, sir.
I was literally like, I've never seen you in my life. When did you get eliminated? I don't even know. Okay, yes, the beards. I noticed the beards. Michael A had a nice beard, and then Thomas had an interesting facial hair look.
Did you not like it?
I was not 100% a fan.
Really? Okay, what was the difference between Michael's
different
beard?
person?
What'd you say?
Thomas looked like a whole different person. I like
He
didn't
did. He did. What was the difference between Michael's beard and Thomas's beard for you? Is it just like their face?
I feel like Michael's was a little fuller, and also
Yeah.
like he has like more of a face for a beard. You know, I think of like a beer guy with like a nice beard, like he could work a flannel, you know, very dad Michael A.
Right.
And Thomas, it's just his features are so defined. So it's like when
Yeah.
I saw facial hair on it, I was like, wait, does that work?
Where did your jaw go?
Yeah, and also like I think he had like a little stash and was like, I don't think that works for you, Thomas. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about
That's
you?
fair.
Who were the people?
Yeah, no, I definitely noticed Michael's. I'm a
Yeah.
huge beard person, so I like any beard on anyone. I like
Okay.
Michael's, I like Thomas's.
Okay.
Hunter was doing something funky with his hair, where it was like laid down flat.
I did see that. I did notice that.
Yes. Unclear why. Because his haircut, I don't even remember what it looked like on the season, but it was fine. So I don't know why he changed it.
It was a spiked look. He was like going
Yeah.
for a bit of a spiked look during the season. Yeah, the flat was not it.
It was not working. Yeah. And
Too
then
much style. Yeah.
yeah. Andrew cut his hair as well, which like it wasn't bad. He looked fine, but I wasn't prepared. He did not give me a memo to be like, Brianna, I cut my hair. So when I saw it, I was like, whoa.
I didn't notice that with Andrew S.
Yeah.
Yeah. But clearly you did. So
I'm always scoping, you know me.
I think for me with Andrew S, I was like so taken aback by like how cute his suit was. Like he had like a cute.
I didn't notice his suit.
See, we had different
priorities.
I'm really looking at the bod. Like he's got, yeah, it's. But yeah, so we complete him together.
Yeah. Okay. So what did you think of the argument that started immediately
with Carl?
With everyone.
True. Well, I'll start with Carl because I hate him. I hate him so much. And literally, I was like writing in my notes. What did I see? Carl, you can't see it. It said, I like was writing in my notes, Carl, sit down, and like all caps, underline. I was like, why are these men standing up right now? Like, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to portray? Like, I'm like, this like toxic masculine energy is too much for me. This man trying to say like, oh yeah, it was Thomas the whole time. I was like, no, sir, no. But yeah, all the dramas. I was surprised to see people like still coming for Hunter a little bit too. Especially again because in social media I've now seen him hanging out with all the guys. So
yeah, they're all like friends.
Yeah, so it really makes me question like how much these guys just like fight to fight because of again the toxic male masculinity and how much of it is actually like we disagree with you and we do not like you as a person. And I think that's how they feel about Carl because they went out of their way to say that Thomas was a good person. They went out of their way to say Hunter was a good person, but no one said crap about Carl being a good person. So yeah, that was a few of my takeaways from their arguments.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point that they went out of their way to say Thomas and Hunter and all these people are good people just to shut down Carl. Because like fast forward to when Aaron called Thomas his mortal enemy, I was like, clearly you feel a way about this man still. So it definitely was just to shut down Carl and like just have that like fighting, like you said, toxic masculine energy for literally no reason. Like when they stood up, I too was like, why? We can all hear each other. Like we all have a mic.
Yeah. And it also like really showed me how much of a pot stirrer Brendan was. I was like,
such a pot stirrer. I was like, sir, you made it through this season very unscathed, but now you're here and you just have all the tea.
Yeah, for real.
No one knows who you are.
I was like, is that why he stuck around? Like, out of all the guys, like, why was he again like the one to make it to the final 6? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's because he's the pot stirrer. He's the
Yeah.
like person that you don't hate yet, who is constantly stirring the pot.
Yeah, and then he just sits back and lets like
Yeah.
Aaron and Trey kind of lead the drama when he planted
Yeah.
the seed.
I was surprised by that. I was like, ooh, exposed.
I know, yeah. Did you have any thoughts about what Aaron? I feel like we didn't unpack it enough, or like on the show they didn't unpack it enough when Aaron was talking about Cody apparently posting a story talking about I'm gonna be famous in 6 months. I was like, please elaborate.
Like, tell me all the details, Aaron. Sit down, like, come up to the couch by
Right.
Tasha. Like, yeah, no, I was surprised by that because it was very vague throughout the season exactly what Cody did, and Katie nipped it so fast. It was very interesting to see that he would post something, be like, gonna be famous in 6 months, like, totally there for the wrong reasons, like, no
Yeah, yeah.
questions asked. And then definitely that edit where he was like, dude, like, no one would know if you didn't tell anybody. Like, I was like, ooh, I forgot he said that, and that's
Yeah.
not a cute look. Like, not
Not a good look. Yeah.
but I didn't like Cody from the start. Let's like start there because he brought the weird doll, and I was like, what are you doing?
Weird doll.
Like a weird sex doll.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. I feel like I blocked that out.
You should, because it's not a cute image, and then like just not a cute look. I was like, okay, like a vibrator is one thing, when a whole freaking doll is like too much.
Yeah.
Joke or not, like, please stop.
Yeah.
So
What was Katie's reaction when he brought it?
I think it was like one of those weird reactions where you like she didn't tell too much, but like you couldn't tell if she was like for it or against it. And yeah, I think instantly, like from that point, like I think everyone like set him up to be a villain. Like you knew that he was not going to be someone you liked.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember like they showed that little random clip of Aaron talking to Cody, being like, I don't like you.
It's not my fault. I don't like you.
And everyone's like, whoa, wait, did they just forget to take that out? Right. Or like, what happened while we were with Katie?
Yeah.
But yeah, that came around real quick. They did not take long to nip that in the bud. And yeah, Aaron, he stuck around too because he was a pot stirrer. I feel like,
yeah.
So, but yeah. Aaron, I like Aaron, honestly.
I don't mind him. Honestly, like he's so salty, but what I like about him is that you know what you're gonna get. Like you know that if you introduce change or someone that he doesn't like, he will have a problem. He will let you know. That you know.
Yep. And I think he's gonna be great on Paradise.
Oh
and
yeah.
That Carl being there too.
Oh yeah. I feel like he's gonna have another like crew behind him that he's always rallying to be like someone new is on the island. Like, be mean.
Well, aren't all three of them, Trey, Aaron, and Brendan, all on it?
I don't know about Brendan. Okay, I know Aaron and Trey are, and Carlos for sure.
Yeah, I just remember thinking like, oh, all the snitches are in Paradise. So yeah, that'll definitely be interesting to see how relationships carry over.
Yeah, and also just like if they're they were so focused on their saltiness during Katie's season, so like can they actually form a relationship, which is the purpose of both the Bachelorette and Paradise? Can they actually form a relationship with women?
Yeah,
or are they just gonna be focused on their piles of salt the whole
season? Which also reminds me, do you remember during the mental when Trey said, like, I promise, like, I was only here for Katie. Like, I wanted to fall in love with her. I was like, boy, why are you in Paradise then?
That was a very unnecessary speech. I felt like he was definitely trying to prove himself and no one asked him to. Like,
I definitely wrote down several times, like, Trey, stop talking.
Really
like I like
on.
Yeah, like I like him. I think he's a good guy, but I was just like, just no one, you're fine. Relax. No one is saying you need to talk. Like you're
right.
Okay.
Right. Like Katie is not that pressed. Like the audience, not that pressed.
No,
Just sit down.
like you're fine. Everyone likes you.
Yeah.
You're good. The producers gave you a good edit, Trey. You're okay.
For real, yeah.
But yeah.
So what did you think of, first of all, what did you think of Connor's journey, like watching it back? And then we'll get into the whole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So first, what did you think of Connor's journey, like watching it back?
Okay, I need to say one thing about Connor because before I get into his journey, because one of my grad school friends, her friend is actually an ex of Connor. And so, and she didn't tell me much. She didn't tell me like at all, because like we're like friends, but not like super close friends. And so I didn't feel like digging, but there was a week where I was gonna ask her. I was like, okay, like I need to know. And it was the week where he came out and was like, I was a really crappy ex-boyfriend. Like I had all these problems. I was like, damn it. Now I can't ask, because if her friend's the ex, like I don't want to dig up that trauma.
Yeah.
And so but I had a feeling that she is not a fan of Connor B. So that really set the tone for how I watched this season with him.
Okay.
Because
So did you know that going?
I found out right before I started watching. Before this
Okay.
started.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
yeah. So I knew it before I saw him in the cat performance and everything.
Cat
So
performance, yeah.
yeah. So instantly biased.
Right.
And so with that in mind, like being able to see a recap of his time there, like I was like, Connor is so sweet. He is like seems like such a genuine, just wants to like bring a good vibe to the group. And watching the playback, like it really was like down to a kiss. Like it seemed like there was a lot of buildup, but I felt like from day one, Katie knew that she wasn't attracted to Connor.
Really?
Because I think of that back to their interaction day one, and like again, like they said, like he started out so strong, and for him not to get the first impression rose was
True.
like, what?
Yeah.
Like, why? And so that's really when I started, I think, on top of like my bias was like, oh, Connor's not gonna make it far, because with such a strong start and her being like, I couldn't stop thinking about you, literally first words out of her mouth was like, I think I'm in love. And to have him not get the first impression rose was like, oh, there's something wrong with like something that we're not seeing. So that's kind of my take on Connor B and his journey, is that I think from the very beginning, Katie knew like this guy's perfect for me, but something's missing. I could sense that from the beginning.
That's a very insightful perspective. I didn't even think about the the first impression, or the lack of the first impression rose, because they just had such a strong connection. Like I definitely noticed it when I was watching the premiere, and I was like, that's odd. Like I for sure thought he was a shoo-in for the first impression rose. But then as I continued to watch him throughout the season, I was like, I put it out of my mind. I was like, he's Final Four, there's no question. So I was really blindsided when she just woke up one day and was like, he can't kiss. I was like,
you're like, damn, you guys been kissing this whole time.
Right. Like, okay, question mark.
Yeah.
So but that's a really good point. I feel like, yeah, now that you say that, she probably did always have some sort of question marks in her mind, and just didn't, like, she did enjoy him, so there was no reason to let him go earlier. And I guess she didn't find the right time to like say it, or like really evaluate it, or maybe she herself didn't put her finger on it until that episode.
I totally agree. And part of me thinks that Connor felt it too, because you know, they had the first episode, and then the second episode, like he was like, so like, I need to kiss her again, and like I need to kiss her without the costume. But I was like, I think he felt like it was a bad kiss, and I think he wanted to prove like I can have a good kiss. And Yeah, that was my take on like that episode where he was just like, let me do it without the pause. And I was like, you
You're
just think
like, that means nothing.
yeah, like you
That's
just
a
want
front.
to try again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I agree. I think it's been like, I don't think Katie might have been able to like put her finger on it right away, but I think she knew that was it. The physical attraction wasn't there for her, I don't think.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I didn't even do anything with that statement of him being like, oh, I need to kiss her again. I was like, okay, everyone needs to kiss her again. Like,
for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I could tell. I don't know. I think also like part of it was like if she like is so into like guys who look like Justin, like Connor B is so not so and I mean she really did like guys like Justin Thomas, like all bigger, taller guys.
True.
And Connor B was not
he's more like, yeah, I don't know the word for it, but he's not similar to them.
Yes, like he's still cute in his own way, and like
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of girls who are attracted to guys like Connor.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's Katie.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So then what did you think of the kiss or the audience chick?
That I could sense the chemistry there. I was like, oh, she is into it. He was into it. I was like, is this a love at first sight kind of thing? Because, and low-key, one of my favorite parts about the Men Tell All this year was that you could hear them like whispering to each, like, you know, you could hear like the conversations they were having. So when he was like, I was checking you out earlier, I was like, wait, that's kind of cute. Yeah. Like, and like just being able to hear like those little things like afterwards, like I heard him be like, I definitely need your number, and like cute things like that. And it was like, oh, like I was excited for him. I was like, Connor B deserves someone who wants him and like chooses him. So I think it was cool that that person in the audience did that.
So I actually have, I don't want to call it a spoiler, but I saw a post today that apparently, I don't know how true or valid it is, but it was a screenshot of apparently an email the production sent. And they're like, we're looking for someone to come out of the audience and do this.
Do you think she's not genuine about liking Connor B?
I think it could have been staged. When you were saying all that, I was like, oh, do I say this or not? But I mean, okay, the thing that tipped me off was when she stood up and was mic'd.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we just spontaneously have microphones like that.
I was hoping it was going to be a thing where she like went up to a producer and was like, hey, this is something I want to do.
Yeah. And I mean, it could have. I did not receive the screenshot. I don't know how valid it is, but I'm just telling you, that's what I saw. And I was like, that sounds like something the Bachelor would do. So
this poor Connor B can't catch a break.
But I mean, she might actually be attracted to him. Like, you never know. It could have been staged, but it still could have a good result.
Like a genuine want.
Staged, yeah, like she could have been like, oh, I do want to kiss him. Like she could have genuinely been like, yeah, let me do this.
She seemed pretty genuine. She seemed sweet and I liked her. Poor Connor B. But again, Connor B is also on Paradise. So I'm like,
so
I had that in the back of my head. I was like, okay, like this isn't gonna necessarily last. But can we also talk about all of the men after he had that kiss, like standing up to, like hug him and welcome him, and just, like,
and so just proud. Being like, you are a tiger. I was like, words of affirmation. Here we go.
I loved it. I love seeing them bro out. It's like
I know.
So
I was cute. Like, this is top like wingman energy. Like I feel like this is what every guys group needs at a bar. Like anytime a guy's like, I want to approach this girl, they need to have a huddle for 5 minutes, being like, you're a tiger, you got this.
Yes, like us women do. I don't know about you, but I constantly have all my friends being like, okay, like you got this, you're a queen, like get out there. Right. And I don't think men do that enough.
They definitely don't.
And yeah, no, I would love that. I would love that for all of them. Uh,
Okay. Let's see. I already asked you about the Bachelor edit. Were there any funny or interesting moments that stood out to you from like the last half, like after they did the serious like interviews or whatever, like the bloopers and the cut scenes?
yeah. Wait, really quick, Caitlyn and Jason, their proposal, hella cute. I was crying. I thought it was beautiful. So that was something that stood out to me. But on the outtakes, I think I'm so blinded by just the last scene that they showed where all the men were talking in different accents. And like
That was my favorite too.
that was
Yes.
easily my favorite. Like I think I've blocked all the rest out
Oh
because
yeah.
I was just so in love with that.
Yes.
So cute. I love it. And I just also like makes my love for Andrew S that much more because
Yes.
he
In my
brought
notes, I
that.
was like, this proves he can light up a room. He can bring the fun, entertainment. Like, I felt the
I
same.
feel like it's also another like nod at him being the next Bachelor because they did that all the time with Michelle. Michelle was like every end credit. I don't know if you
Oh my
noticed that.
gosh. You're so good at these patterns. Yeah.
I'm just obsessed. I'm like, I get obsessive. I always take notes whether I'm like talking to someone about it later or not. So I just have a lot of feelings. So but yeah, and I think, it's just another sign that like he's playful and that like he is like a fun person to watch. Like
Yeah.
it's not just like serious with him. And I think, yeah, it makes me excited and it makes me again think that it's a nod at him being the next Bachelor.
Oh my gosh. I hope so. I really hope so.
I keep seeing social media posts of him in Vienna, and I'm like, does that mean you're not being the next Bachelor? Because you need to
Oh
tell
yeah,
us
because that's
now.
where he plays like football or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's just like him posting of things back in the day or if he's like playing again. So I'm just like, Andrew S., can
Mm.
you please clarify right now where you are?
Yeah, but they wouldn't be filming yet. I think they're still filming Michelle's
Michelle.
season. So
Yeah,
we're good. There's still hope.
I sure hope
Yes.
so.
Okay. What did you think? We talked about how we felt about Thomas's physical appearance, but what did you think of his content, what he was actually saying?
I was like, did we really need him to like show up? Because I felt weird. Like it felt like Katie had regrets. Like, I don't know. I got that
Really?
vibe. I got a vibe that she was like, I don't know why. I just felt like she was more emotional talking to him than she was talking to anyone else. And I was like, is that because he hurt her the most? Or like, is that because like he's like a big what if, or like I don't know, but it felt weird. Like I felt like she had more to say to Thomas than she had to say to Michael A or anyone else.
So interesting. I felt the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I didn't feel like she differentiated between because the main people she talked to were Andrew, Michael, and Thomas. Like those are the
Yeah.
people she directly addressed. But I feel like it was all the same. Like whenever any of them would be like, oh, like I feel this way about you, you should be like, thank you, I'm happy now. Like I just
True.
felt like she was very like curt with all of
Yeah.
them. And I felt like with Thomas, like when he was asking her, like what did I do wrong? I felt like she gave him a very basic answer. Like I didn't feel like she provided a lot of in-depth information of like she was like, oh, it seems scripted, but it's like that.
Yeah.
I got that as an audience member, you know what I mean? Like that didn't give me insight into Katie's actual mind because
Yeah.
you could tell that from like a third party perspective, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if maybe it was because she had to be looking up, so it made me think like she was like holding back tears more, like how people do
Mm-hmm.
that when they're crying, and so like that maybe was like how I interpret it, because I don't know, something about her face when she was talking to Thomas. I agree, like I think it was like pretty much the same tone for all three of them, but something with Thomas, maybe it was anger, honestly, more than
Mm.
anything. Maybe she was like just so upset with how that all happened and went down, and like thinking about it like made her mad again, because I just still felt like there was a little bit more emotion behind like
Yeah.
her explanation or like what she had to say to him.
I feel like anger. is a good theory because I was angry
Yeah.
because I was upset when he was like, what did I do wrong? I was like, are you not able to self-reflect?
Like, did you not watch the episode?
Right.
They laid out exactly what you did wrong.
Right. Like, sir, the number one rule of coming on the show is not to tell everyone you want to be the Bachelor. Like,
Yeah.
what is not clicking? So I felt like if she was angry, I felt like that could have been potentially why.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that might have been the emotion more so, but it could have also been regret because I feel like honestly, and she said it herself that she would have kept him had all the guys not ambushed her. Like she saw him as Final Four material, so she could low key be like, you know, when like you find out information about someone and you're like, technically I do want to know this information, but also technically I want to live in ignorance and like not think about their
And
flaws.
enjoy it. Yeah.
So that could have been like what was going on there.
Yeah, I think that was like what I was interpreting too from it, was just like this idea of like there was more, like it's weird, right? Because with Michael and Andrew, there's that what if too. But like I think with Thomas, it's like she still hadn't gotten to know him enough where she was like, okay, yeah, like I have the closure, like I know more or less what if, like and like I think she just couldn't hash out like, okay, this is what it would have looked at with Thomas, and yeah, it would have been happy, but like I think I'm still happier with where I am now, if that makes sense. You know? Because I think that's her conclusion with Michael and Andrew. It's like, yeah, if I were with you guys, I'd be happy, I'd be thrilled, but I'm happier with how this ended. Right. And I don't think she got that with Thomas, like that closure.
Yeah, because I think that's exactly it. Because she technically didn't eliminate him on her own. You know what I mean? Like if she hadn't eliminated him, the guys would have kept hammering into her. Like she had to like kind of maintain the peace.
And I think that's it too. She made that comment of like, oh, actually that was with Carl. Just kidding. She was like telling Carl, like, I kicked you out because you are not worth the pain of the environment.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think she said that to Thomas, did she?
No, she didn't. Because I felt like had the guys been like just 1 degree cooler on Thomas, she wouldn't have eliminated him that early. Yeah.
And it sounded like that it really was for her, like that last discussion of him trying to like save his butt and like smiling and like was crying and like clearly emotionally attached. And I think that's why it was anger. Like she was like, just the difference between their emotions was so stark.
Yeah, because I could tell even by her having the conversation that she was open to him. Like she's not going to have a conversation with him if she's not, like when you have a conversation about someone that you're thinking about breaking up with, giving them the conversation is giving them room to be like, convince me why I should not break up with you, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Thomas, I don't know, but if I was Katie, I know you like the facial hair, but if I was Katie and I saw that facial hair, I'd be like, whew. Can pass.
Well, maybe she feels that way. We don't know.
She really did give like nothing to anyone. Yeah. And it makes me really curious about how things are going to pan out, because I feel like they gave her the instructions of just like say the bare minimum.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because they didn't even have people sit next to her. Like, you know, they do that.
Yeah, they do that sometimes. Yeah.
So it was weird. It was weird to me because it felt like the guys did not really get much from Katie. I don't think we got a lot from Katie from her coming on screen. So
it was very empty. Like she was just saying stuff just to respond.
Yeah, she seems sad, honestly. I was like, she does not seem happy to me.
I read it as like just blank. Like I was just like, there's no, like she didn't want to be involved is how I read it. But she could, I don't know. That leads me to my next question. What are your predictions for the rest of the season?
Honestly, I've been thrown so many curveballs. Everything that I've like kind of guessed has come true, but also like not really. Like I knew Michael A was gonna leave, but I thought it was gonna be a little bit different. Like I felt like it was gonna be more of a conversation, like we were talking about earlier. I didn't expect Andrew to leave. I really was expecting Andrew to be like top 2.
Yeah.
And so I'm like really distraught because we still know that Greg and Katie are gonna get in a fight by the previews. And I'm like very curious what that's gonna look like. Blake, I'm just like so confused by Blake at this point because like he had such a weird edit where like we didn't really get a lot from him. They've been dropping these weird previews of like Blake thinking about leaving. And then they also showed him saying like I'm not in love. And I'm like, why was he saying that to Katie? Like, was that a weird like cutout? Because then at the preview we saw that he was talking to his family and was like, they were like, tell her. And I was like, okay, so he is in love. And so I'm like, Blake, get your crap together because we don't have time for this. We saw again nothing about Justin, so who knows what is happening with Justin.
All we've seen is Justin in that dang carriage. Like
I like literally no clue what is happening with Justin. I don't think Justin has a clue of what's happening. No. and then of course there's Greg, and like it's just them 3, right? So it's like it just feels very weird. Like I just feel like all the romantics are gone, you know, like all the hopeless romantics are gone. So there's not really that like, ooh, like, oh, they're gonna have this like love confession or like anything like that. I'm like not sure how this is gonna go. And you know, I do think Katie, I felt like Katie's connections were stronger with the other guys who've left. And I'm like Andrew S. and Michael A. from like my perspective. And so I'm not sure how she's gonna take it. Cause like I know she's infatuated with Greg and Justin. I don't know how much I also am like, this is not mainstream or like popular opinion, but I don't like Greg. I'm not a fan.
Girl, that is my opinion. I am not in the mainstream. He is annoying.
So like I'm just like, he's annoying. He like isn't like his lack of confidence is like not it for me.
It's not
like
cute. Yeah.
Not because Katie is so clearly like for him, and like the fact that he's still so doubtful, like is just like, come on. Like I know this is a Bachelor and that's what it does to you, but at the same time I'm like, come on, Greg, you're cute, you're a white boy, like where's your white boy confidence? Like all the other guys have it, like come on.
That is such a good way to put it.
And so I just think that like I don't think he's it for Katie. He like strikes me as a little bit basic and boring. And so like I want her to end up with Blake. If it had to be these 3 guys, I'm rooting for Blake, but I don't know. I'm also rooting for her to again leave and fall in love with Michael A. or Andrew S. So that's kind of where I'm at with this season. How about you?
Wait, so let me clarify. You say you want her to end up with Blake. Do you think she will? If you had to choose an outcome right now.
I think she will end up with Blake if she is really sticking to her want to be engaged, because I think this fight with Greg is gonna blow them up and she's not gonna get engaged to Justin. So
yeah, that's not on the table.
Not happening. So I do think she'll end up with Blake.
Okay.
I'm hopeful for Katie that she ends up with Blake.
Yeah.
At the same time, you know, like it would make me sad if she went through this really roller coaster season to end up with no one.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, she eliminated her future.
True. She did. She said she's
like
the one who sent Andrew S. home. I do have to remind myself of that, because who would do that?
Right. My predictions, I agree. I would say if it weren't for these previews of like Greg possibly leaving or whatever is going on, I would say Greg, because I feel like that is who she's been feeling like the most. But I'm assuming that's what happened, so I will go ahead and say I feel like Blake will take the next spot. Which I hate when that happens. I like Blake better than Greg, and I like Katie and Blake better than I like Katie and Greg, but I honestly don't like watching the lead really be into someone and then they leave or they get eliminated or whatever. So they choose the obvious second choice. And that never sits right with me. And like sometimes it like works out, I guess, and like people stay together, but I'm always like, well, you didn't really want that person first. Like you wanted someone else. So
yeah. And I think I feel the exact same way, but like what I've been trying to do this season is remind myself that like the producers are editing this. There are other things that we're not seeing. And like it could be like very much behind the scenes that there was no like obvious second choice. And like that Katie really was split between all these people, because it like as a hopeless romantic breaks my heart thinking like all these people are like ranked, you know, and like that there actually is an order to them, because like especially with this season I feel like I have came to the conclusion that I actually couldn't ever be the Bachelorette because of the idea of multiple soulmates, and that I really believe for Katie that she had multiple of her soulmates on this season, because I really could have seen her with so many of these guys. And I think it is due to like her openness to be in love, and I think that's awesome, but it like breaks my heart to think that she really had all these different possibilities of love and she could never know which one was the best, and she kind of just has to like go with it. And all to say that I think, you know, she'll make the most of whatever person she does end up falling in love with, but it just like makes it so hard for me as like someone who is also a perfectionist and wants to have the best. I'm like, how would I be able to choose what future I want the most and what future is going to work out, you know? So
that's so real. Were you ever thinking of applying for the show?
I've applied to every reality TV show you could think of.
I love it.
Yeah, so I think I applied to the Bachelor, Bachelorette, but I don't remember that one as much because that application always feels like way less possible than like the other ones, because I don't look like any of like I think I'm beautiful and gorgeous, but not like Bachelor, not Tayshia. So
I mean, you're on their level, but like as we were saying, we're just question mark maybe gonna get the first Asian Bachelor, like you know.
Exactly. So yeah. So I thought about it, but I am now off that train. Now I would rather just be a producer because I think there's so many better cuts to this show than they're giving us.
Give us some more tea. I need
give
you
us
to get
more tea. Like more tea, like there's clearly so much more tea, and they always focus on one villain at a time, and I don't think it has to be like that. And
I agree. I hate that.
It's like so annoying, and it's like I also believe that there are so many more like supportive scenes that people now want to see, and that people would be excited to see on TV. And people aren't just looking for drama anymore on reality TV. People are looking for supportive and loving relationships that they can base their life on and like actually be a healthy reality for everybody. And it wouldn't just be boring. So, you know, and I think they're taking steps. I think Tayshia and Caitlyn are a great step towards like looking at more healthier relationships and friendships on the show. So I'm just hopeful that it continues to go that way.
Yeah, and like you said on The Bachelor, with girls always like tearing each other down, if you got behind the scenes of that, you will whip them into shape. You'll be like, here, ladies, like we are going to resolve our arguments in a
like we can only have this be 2 minutes of the episode, girl. So like say
what you gotta say and move on.
Exactly.
I need you guys eating breakfast together by tomorrow.
Like I want a cooking scene of y'all instead of this cat fight, Matt. So, like,
make it happen.
Exactly. But yeah.
That's all right. Any other final thoughts or anything that we didn't touch on?
No, but thank you for inviting me. This was a thrill. I absolutely love this. I need this type of debrief anyways, so it's been fun to be able to do with someone just as into it. Last thought, actually, because I know you make some comments about the outfits. And so I've two things. Aaron's outfit definitely, I think, set him up to look like Thomas. So I don't blame Katie for that mix up.
Oh, yes. Low key. Yeah.
Like, I was like, could be problematic, but I'm like, low key, I see it. So I
Yeah.
don't blame Katie. And then her green dress. I was like, why?
Did you not like it?
I just think compared to Tasha and Caitlin's red, it just didn't make sense to me. I was like, why would you put a neon green dress next to these super elegant, super like red dresses? Like, I think they should have dressed Tasha and Caitlin down because we all knew Katie wasn't gonna want to be dressed up like that.
Yeah.
So why aren't we matching the Bachelorette where she is instead of having to constantly match these like extravagant dresses?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mind the actual dress, like the cut of it, but the color really got to me as well. Like just seeing them all three up there, I was like, this is not it's not pleasing to the eye. Like it's not making sense.
And like I liked the dress on her. I think it made her look really cute. It flattered her well, but I was like put that on her on a date. Like why like this is a tell-all. Like she doesn't need it looked like a sundress to me.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have been seeing some stuff that Katie has been dressing herself more this season. So like she probably wrote up there, they had something picked down. She was like, no.
I could see that. But as a producer, I would have been like, Katie, pick a pink one or like pick a more subtle color. Like,
oh yeah, you same. I would have been back there in that dressing room like, we're not leaving until you have your color scheme blends in with my vision. So
yeah, like,
do whatever you need to do.
Like pick the style, pick the cut. I don't care, but like, come on, the colors.
Yeah. I mean, like you have this many dates left. Well, I guess it's already filmed, but
yeah,
I was like, you can wear this after the final rose, after the house. Like I don't care.
For real. But yeah, I've liked that Katie's been dressing herself for the most part. I think there's definitely, you can tell when she's not, and it's just like it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the more chilled look, but and more real look. But
yeah,
I was like, for the tell-all, like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it for me though. Thanks
All
again.
right. Well, thank you to my first guest, Julia.
Honored.
Do you want to shout out any? I know some people will like shout out their social media. Do you want to shout out that, or do you like care?
Yeah, I could. Well, I'm on private. I probably won't add people, but I will shout out. I've started a rom-com account. It's very amateur, but it's at Rom-Com Addiction. And so if anyone wants to follow there, not just reality TV, but we got film, podcasts, movies, all the works, anything that I feel like makes my heart sing, I'll post about. So Rom-Com Addiction.
Love it. I need to follow that myself. I didn't even love it.
Me too.
All righty. Well, this has been another episode of Brianna's Bachelor Breakdown. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all next week.